dumb. I'm not dumb. And we're live.
We are live.
We
Hurrah.
are live.
That's always a plus.
Happy Wednesday. I have no idea why I should be happy today.
Because it's your birthday.
It's your birthday.
It's my is it?
It's your birthday. Everyone in chat say happy birthday to Rhydian.
Happy birthday, Rhydian. And I'm not in chat, but I thought I'd say it.
You're not allowed to say happy birthday to Rhydian.
It's a song, isn't it? It's his birthday and he can cry if he wants to.
Something like that. Vicky, make him cry.
Big boys don't cry. No.
Well, we only have your word for that, Rhydian.
Simple.
I'm looking forward to this evening.
Are you?
Yeah, there's cake.
No, to the show, dear.
But there's cake.
There is no cake. Companion Cube is sad.
The cake is a lie, is it?
Cake is in fridge.
Do you know what the first thing I printed out on my 3D printer was? A companion cube.
I think word must have got out that I was on tonight because there's only 19 viewers there.
Oh. Oh, the night is still
When
young.
you say members of public health are scared of you.
Feels weird being on a Wednesday again, I'll tell you. I've gotten kind of used to Thursdays now.
Well, maybe it's only 19 viewers because some people have seen my face at least three times yesterday, and they've got sick of me.
I can never get sick of you, don't I?
Ah, so tonight then is mostly Wales, is it not? What is a companion cube, Matt? Says Whip It Up 69. Go into Google and type companion cube, you'll see it then.
It's a reference to Portal. Cake is a lie. Everybody knows cake is a lie.
Yes.
Especially birthday cake. Birthday cake is a lie.
It's not like our French, is it?
No, it's not. Daft.
Go on, you can blow out the candles and everything on telly.
No candles. We got no lighters here.
If I did, there'd be a fire hazard.
You know what I haven't tested the full screen
assessment.
image. Right, hang on. Simon is currently full screen. And now Rhydian is, because he just took the focus. That wasn't very polite of you, Rid.
Sorry.
Right, that was working fine. Lovely.
Typings.
Is it Rhydian's birthday? Asked Trevor G. Yes, it is.
Yes, it's Rhydian's 16th birthday today, so everybody, please
Soon
wish
he will
him
be
a
growing
happy
a beard.
16th birthday.
You're not gonna get a pint off me on Saturday.
Did you get your free
So
sampler
what's new
set from
then?
Gillette yet?
Oh.
Are we going to the pub on Saturday and I didn't know?
I don't know, probably you really just insulted me in front of VTTV chat.
Oh.
Apparently I'm underage for vaping right now.
Okay, I'll give you extra snap for that.
Rhydian, I'll give you some tips, right? What you should be telling her on Saturday, I'm just nipping out to the shed. That's code for the pub. So while she thinks you're tidying the shed, you can have a few pints.
you don't have a shed, buy one first.
It'll work for a few weeks, trust me.
I'm doing overtime.
Especially if you don't tell her.
5 minutes according to Sav.
Uh-huh.
Oh, because we're going live in 5 minutes.
Well, I might be done.
Okay. Can I have another bottle, please?
I suppose I should get my clock out.
Poke it up my backside, yes.
I now have my clock.
Oh, did you lose it? Did you go to the doctor to find it?
What, my clock?
Oh, your clock.
My clock.
Sorry.
My time-telling device.
We're going to the gynecologist.
I just thought you called him a croc. There you are.
I've been called much worse.
Yeah, you by me.
And that's just by Simon in the pub.
Has the team sung Happy Birthday? You don't want that to happen.
Like that, Betty.
It is not the extraterrestrial's birthday. Cumpleaños feliz.
And the hell, yeah, me.
What about you?
I was singing it to you in Arabic.
Oh, right. I have special blocks.
Yeah. Rhydian, remember to put your false beard on now so you don't look out of place.
God, even the false beard doesn't want to know.
Beard, where's my beard? I've misplaced my beard. Oh well, at least I don't have my DNA 40 within reach.
Sure you don't want cake?
No, that's because I came over your house earlier on and nicked it. You can have it back when you grow the beard back.
But I put it in a security coded case.
He's got a beard. He's got a beard. He can crack a code.
2 minutes.
2 whole minutes.
Don't even let it in.
No sweatar, croeso i'r rogoff.
Really?
Yes. Good
Okay.
evening and welcome to the cave.
The cave.
In the cave. I almost thought it would be a good idea to do what we did on the cave after April Fools. Just start off in Welsh and then just Simon just lets rip things in Welsh and just go, yeah,
You know, I still do have those titles, but I'm not setting it up now.
well, no need.
I thought he was talking about something else when he said Simon, let's rip.
Why have I just gone off Do Not Disturb? Silly Skype.
You don't mind if I just
1 minute of end.
1 minute, I know. Do you mind if I could just cut this off?
Right then, I am poised. I am poised. I am poised.
Oh, oh,
30
30 seconds. I am watching team chat intently.
Yes.
I'm not, because I'm not part of it.
10 seconds.
And good evening on a Wednesday for once, for a while. So tonight then is pretty much going to be Wales and competition winners at the end. So tonight I'm joined, as always, by Rhydian, and of course that was perfect. How do we do that? And Simon Thurlow as well. So after the titles, we're going to have some discussion. Cinema.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of VapeBetrayals.tv.
And welcome back. So then, I guess we should start really with some VT. Now this is some of the footage that was on the BBC yesterday. So what I've done, I've put it together in a bit of a clip show, about 15 minutes or so. So let's play that in first before we have a discussion, okay?
To move on to an area in the legislation that is more controversial this afternoon, and I have no doubt that it will be controversial up until the last minute of voting in stage 3 and 4. In this legislation, at best, the evidence is split on banning the use of e-cigarettes from public places. As we've heard, ASH, Cancer Research, the Royal College of Surgeons oppose the principle of banning at the moment and see that there is a view and clear evidence that show that e-cigarettes are used to reduce the smoking of tobacco, and this shouldn't be jeopardised by extending the ban on them. So the question for you is, because of the evidence and that view by authoritative bodies and respected bodies in the field, why do you still believe that the argument for normalising is more superior than the argument for reducing smoking tobacco? The First Minister emphasised this afternoon that the World Health Organization view was strong evidence for a ban.
Can I then turn to the issue perhaps of the day, which is the restriction on the use of e-cigarettes in line with traditional tobacco products. The Minister says that as Minister for Health, he just admitted that actually there is no, there is no hard and fast, clear evidence in either way of this debate, in either side of this debate. He's just said that in answer to Ellen Jones, and therefore he feels that that he has to act. But in doing so, Deputy Presiding Officer, the risk is not all just one way. There is not just a risk associated with doing nothing at this stage in the face of a lack of compelling evidence, but there is also risk in taking action, and that risk is the risk of disrupting the harm-reducing possibilities of e-cigarettes. We know, and there is evidence to suggest, that people are using these products to quit smoking and to stop using traditional tobacco products. There is also evidence to suggest from Spain and New York that actually a ban results in an acceleration, once again, of people using tobacco products. We are all of one in this chamber, I think, that we want to see less and less and less tobacco being smoked. And so would you accept, Minister, that whilst there is a risk, perhaps, of doing nothing, there is also a risk and an opportunity cost of acting in this way if it turns out that people stop using these products to limit their exposure to tobacco, and actually their harm-reducing potential, which has been acknowledged by all experts in the field, is lost to us. Could I ask the Minister, does he have what levels of exposure to propylene glycol he believes is harmful to humans, whether that's inhaled directly or whether that is inhaled in a second-hand fashion? And if he has a level that he feels that is harmful, could he back that up with scientific evidence to suggest it? And is the Minister aware that in quoting the World Health Organization's report, is the Minister aware that the findings of that report have been significantly challenged by experts here in this country at the University of London, who described the report as flawed, and also the British Journal of General Practice, who again have been very critical of the information contained within the WHO report? And would he agree, if he's not aware of those concerns about the WHO's report, will he commit to at least reading that evidence?
I certainly didn't say, Deepa Lowy, that there was no evidence in relation to the harm of e-cigarettes. I simply said that with a product which is as new as this, it will be some years yet before definitive advice is available on either side of this discussion. As far as the harm-reducing possibilities of e-cigarettes is concerned, nothing in this bill prevents their being used for that purpose, despite the fact that the Cochrane collaboration, in the most definitive review, the scientific evidence says that the quality of evidence for the proposition that e-cigarettes are a successful way of harm reduction in relation to tobacco is low. But nevertheless, despite the fact that I think the evidence for the proposition is weak, we don't in any way get in the way of that proposition in Wales in this bill. The member needs to look much more closely at the evidence from New York. Smoking levels in New York were going up before the ban on e-cigarettes. So her suggestion that the rise in smoking levels is a result of the ban on e-cigarettes doesn't stand up to examination, even for a small number of moments. As far as the WHO is concerned, of course, I'm aware of the 53 people who wrote to the WHO taking dispute with its evidence, just as I'm aware of the 133 people who signed a letter the week after fully supporting the WHO's position.
Bad news for this company in Swansea, which produces the colourful liquid that goes into e-cigarettes, where business is booming.
Well, we're producing approximately about 3,000 bottles a day at this moment in time. I'd say 4 years ago we were producing a couple of hundred a day. So yes, there's been a massive jump.
A rapid rise in sales and publicity. There are even online video channels dedicated to e-cigarettes. Rhydian man from Llansamlet co-presents this one. He quit smoking 2 years ago after switching to a vaping device and says he's annoyed by the Welsh Government's plans.
It's ridiculous. The regulation's disproportionate. It will make e-cig users have to go outside, expose themselves to second-hand smoke, with the possibility of relapsing to smoking tobacco. That shouldn't happen.
The ban split opinion among health and medical groups too. Cancer Research UK, Ash Wales and Tenebus are among the big-name bodies opposed to what the Welsh Government is doing.
There's just no evidence to justify a ban on the use of them indoors on the basis that it's doing any harm to other people or it's encouraging young people to take up e-cigarettes or take up smoking. E-cigarettes present a real opportunity for people that want to quit tobacco, and we don't support this particular measure because it could put up some barriers to people who want to quit.
But the Welsh Government says it's worried the way e-cigarettes look and how they're marketed make them attractive to young people and don't want to take the risk of smoking becoming normalised again. The policy is already in place in countries such as Belgium, Spain and Malta and is endorsed by the World Health Organization.
Ask yourself this, would your first reaction be to discourage its use? If yes, then you could be Minister of Health in Wales, because the Welsh Government have decided that e-cigarettes, which appear to carry few health risks and do help people quit smoking, should be treated like traditional killer cigarettes. That is, they should not be consumed in polite company. Now, the BBC actually bans them in this building, by the way. It's not alone in that. Should they? We're going to argue that out shortly, but David Grossman went out of this building to find out more about them.
Just like in every public enclosed space in the UK, there's no smoking in here, but this isn't smoking, it's vaping, inhaling the vapour of electronic cigarettes.
There are four main types. You've got tobacco-based liquids, which taste like a real cigarette. You've got mint-based liquids, which taste like a menthol cigarette or mint liquids. Then you've got fruit and sweets.
Customers at the House of Vapes in East London fall into two categories. Those looking to give up nicotine altogether, and those who want to continue but without the dangers of cigarettes. And that appears to be borne out by what's going on nationally. In 2010 there were 700,000 vapers in the UK. Today that number is 2.6 million. In 2010, just 2.7% of tobacco smokers also used e-cigarettes. Today that figure is 17.6%.
It's to help people quit smoking, and then after that, if you want to use it for the habit, because you don't have it anymore, then that's completely fine, if that makes sense.
I used to smoke normal cigarettes, but after I quit, I tried these. I actually prefer them.
At the moment, e-cigarettes are not covered by the same ban as tobacco smoking, but the Welsh Government is now proposing to treat the two the same. One concern they have is that vaping looks like smoking and therefore could normalise it. Some experts, though, are sceptical of this logic.
The evidence so far is suggesting that countries which allow e-cigarettes see a decline in sales of normal cigarettes. So this is the opposite of the normalization worry.
It doesn't smell. I can't... This is Hon Lik, the Chinese inventor of e-cigarettes. It's like meeting Walter Raleigh, or it would be if Walter Raleigh had either invented or discovered smoking, which of course he didn't.
I worked hard to invent the e-cigarette. I saw the future business for them, but I knew it would change many people's habits, and many people could benefit as well. That was a reason for me to invent it.
And what do you think about various governments and administrations saying that your e-cigarette should be banned in the same way that regular cigarettes are?
I think the government should have stricter laws on sales to underage people and to raise the quality of the raw materials used and the products themselves. At the same time, they should actively help e-cigarettes become more easily available to smokers.
Do you ever think that you might be responsible for saving millions of lives?
Yes, I do.
David Grossman. Well, joining us from Salford is Dr. Philip Banfield, who chairs the British Medical Association's Welsh Council. And in the studio we have the science journalist and Times columnist Matt Ridley. Dr. Banfield, maybe just what medical evidence is there of harm from e-cigarettes?
Well, I think the problem here is that it's not the evidence of harm, but it's the lack of evidence of safety that is worrying. Inherently, using a product that includes nicotine, which is a highly addictive substance, just seems counterintuitive to the idea of starting something that is going to cause you problems in the long run. Now, that's different, of course, to helping people who already have an addiction to give up, for which we have no complaint at all.
Right. And Matt Ridley, what evidence is there that e-cigarettes are doing good?
Well, as Philip says, if they're already smoking and they go on to e-cigarettes, that's good. And 99% of vapers are in that position. Very, very few people are going into vaping as non-smokers. Nearly all the people who are doing so from the point of view of smoking. So it's a question of relative harm. Is it more harmful than smoking? Clearly not. It's clearly much less harmful than smoking. It's much nicer for other people, etc. And most medical organisations now, ASH, British Heart Foundation, Royal College of Physicians, all of these, Cancer Research UK, are now all saying that they think actually these could make an enormous difference to cutting down on people smoking.
Philip Banfield, the question is it does seem like it's definitely doing some good, and it's not clear whether it's doing any harm. You said yourself there's no evidence that it's doing harm. So why would you try and restrict its use? Why wouldn't you encourage its use?
Well, I think the worry is the kind of marketing that's going into these products. They are being designed to be attractive, We know from recent studies in Wales that school children at 10 and 11 have tried e-cigarettes. And
are those ones who haven't tried normal cigarettes, are they trying e-cigarettes without normal? I mean, a lot of 10 and 11-year-olds have tried real cigarettes, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear that most children who try e-cigarettes do not smoke. But the same paper showed that in 15 and 16-year-olds who've started smoking, there's a significant use of e-cigarettes at the same time.
Matt, really, do you worry about this normalisation? I mean, you will go and sit at your desk, I'm sure, with someone sitting next to you, drinking a coffee, a somewhat addictive stimulant. But is there any problem at all about them inhaling nicotine, which is a kind of a more serious drug, perhaps, than caffeine?
No, I don't think it is a more serious drug than caffeine. There's no evidence that it's a more serious drug than caffeine. It's just as addictive as caffeine, but that doesn't mean it's more harmful. As far as normalisation is concerned, vaping is very different from smoking, and everybody can see the difference.
Yeah, but there is a worry about new people turning to it, isn't there? There's a lot of what's concerning the Welsh Government is this idea that it just becomes normal and acceptable in the way that it is to drink a coffee.
But vaping,
to be vaping away your...
vaping and smoking are different. It's like saying seeing people eating apples is going to encourage people to eat oranges. You know, they're just different things. And all the evidence suggests that actually this is getting people off smoking. So the relative risk is the thing that counts. Why go out and discourage a technology that is dragging people off a harmful addiction at a rate of knots?
Philip Banfield, do you worry more about people drinking coffee or inhaling nicotine?
Oh, definitely inhaling nicotine.
And why?
I mean, it's a neurotransmitter in the brain. It increases dopamine levels. That gives you a sense of well-being and sense of reward. It's if you like, the same mechanism that was involved with addictions to cocaine and heroin. So there is a mechanism that would explain the addiction, and the reality is we just don't know. So it's a bold move.
Matt Ridley.
If people were doing this from scratch without ever having taken nicotine before in large numbers, then of course that would be...
right, so you would be concerned if it was people...
Well, not very, because there's no evidence of harm, but it's a tiny bit. But the point is the relative harm. It's harm reduction that these things are achieving. I think we're going to see this thing actually wiping out smoking in quite short order. And by the way, it's doing so without any official encouragement, indeed with some official discouragement, without any subsidy, without prescriptions, all that kind of thing. It's an extraordinary revolution. And I do think that we've got to let it happen, because it really could save a lot of lives.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vapetrails.tv.
Healthy Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and e-liquids. Proud sponsors of vaping entertainment on Vapor Trails TV.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vapetrails.tv.
And we're back. So, you can see there that Mr. Drakeford had a bit of backlash. Matt Ridley, very impressed with his performance there, particularly basically telling someone to shut up. So, okay guys, I'm going to put you on full screen. Rhydian.
Right, yeah, so yesterday made Wales look completely ridiculous. Drakeford did that single-handedly, and all the other reports that most of us would have thought were coordinated in such as The Independent, The Guardian, BBC News. Yeah, so some people have got concerns with some of the media reports, such as the opening of Wales Today yesterday, which said the Welsh Assembly will ban, but it's not exactly like that. It's a case of they're proposing to, but it's not a ban now. There's still a fair bit of time before it can possibly come legislation, and Simon knows more than that than I do, because as the lead petitioner with the Save E-cigs campaign, he does chat with a lot of the AMs with regards to timescale of implementation. So as far as I know, the next step will be handing it to the HSCC, the Health and Social Care Committee. Is that right, Si?
Yeah, I mean, basically, what will happen now? The Welsh Assembly will go into its summer recess sometime over the next week or two. I'm not entirely sure of the timescale on that. But before they go into recess, what will happen now is that now that the paper has been published, and as you said, it's a publication of intent. It is not law. It is intent, what they intend to do. So that will now get passed to the Health and Social Care Committee, HSCC. Now, the Health and Social Care Committee will put it under what is termed in political terms as scrutiny. But part of that scrutiny is that they are allowed to call for evidence. And that call for evidence will likely happen before they break for the summer recess. The idea being that throughout the summer recess, then people will be able to send in evidential responses about why they either support or oppose it. The important thing to note here is that anybody can answer it. You don't have to be a scientist, you don't have to be a politician. Anybody has a right to reply to it. Obviously, I've been talking a lot to quite a few scientists, and I've got a pretty impressive list. I'm not going to say anything about who I've got lined up to respond to it, but I suspect a lot of people will probably be able to work it out. But there's a fair number of people, pro e-cig scientists, who will respond to it. At some point then, when they come back after the recess, which I believe is the end of September, beginning of October, there will be a period then where they will collate the responses and evaluate them. At that point, they will decide if there are any people who made the responses who they would like to come in and present evidence personally. Okay. Now, one person I already know has already been sounded out about this off the record, and that person will be going in to present personally when they come back in the autumn. Not going to say who it is again, but that person is already keyed up and ready to move in. What happens then is that when these people come in and make their presentations to the Health and Social Care Committee, the Health and Social Care Committee can then decide to amend the white paper as they see fit. Now, when I say amend, that may mean that they will change some of the content of it, or even that they will remove some things from the content. Now, what we're obviously looking for is that they remove e-cigs from it. So if we can get e-cigs removed from it, that's it, we've won, game over. If we can't, we are then in the gambling casino, because that paper will go back as a whole in about February, March next year, and it will be presented back to the Assembly. It will be given a date when it's going to be discussed, and then, as per the way the TBD worked in Europe, what the AMs will then be allowed to do is vote on the paper in its entirety. They will not be able to take anything out. They will have to vote on it in its entirety. So if they don't like the e-cigs, but they like everything else, chances are they probably voted through. So that is the reason why we've got to get e-cigs out of it when it goes through scrutiny with the HSCC. Otherwise, we are literally gambling.
So there's only one point during the entire process that e-cigs can be taken out.
Yes, but this is a big but. I will say this. I saw on Tuesday a lot of widespread panic among a lot of people on social media and in the forums, going, "Whoa, it's going to become law and e-cigs are banned in Wales, that's the end of it." No, it ain't. This is what we've been waiting for. Since I first put the petition together last April, May in 2014, I and you, Rhydian, and Rob Hayes, and Peter Modi, we've all been going out and meeting with AMs, and this is where hopefully all of this is going to start coming to fruition. Because now is the point that we've been waiting for. Until it was actually published today, we couldn't do a bloody thing. Now we can. Now we can really get to work on this. And I'm actually quite excited about what's to come, because this is it now. This is game on. I know from the VT that was shown just now, you saw, for example, Ellen Jones turning around and challenging Mark Drakeford. A year ago, Ellen Jones was sitting on the fence. She didn't know what she thought about e-cigs. However, since then, Rob Hayes has been in to see her, and he turned it around completely. The result is what you saw yesterday. That's why we met the AMs. That's the difference it makes.
You can definitely see that from Kirsty Williams as well. She is she's going all guns blazing against these proposals for us. And I don't know if anybody actually caught the First Minister's questions part of yesterday, but Carwyn Jones made very sniping remarks, and Kirsty made an opening statement, and Carwyn Jones said, first off, I'd like to congratulate Kirsty Williams on receiving her award from Save e-cigs, and that was very condescending. Kirsty continued with her line of questioning, and Carwyn Jones came back with, well, she's definitely earning her award today. So he was flustered, and then the footage that Matt has just shown, Drakeford's also extremely flustered. And from information that I got today, the Welsh vapers, in order for the bill to fail, assuming that e-cigs are in, we only need 7 Labour Assembly members to jump ship to our side. And this is where it's going to be another call to action. It's going to be persistent nagging, if you will, but obviously nagging in the politest way possible. What I've done this evening, and I've posted it on the Welsh Vapers Facebook group already, I'll be posting all the contact details of the Welsh Labour AMs and topics and tips for a letter to send to them. Because what me and Simon realised after the consultation came out, that doing template letters wasn't the best thing. So what I will be asking all the Welsh vapers in chat and all the vapers in Wales elsewhere is to create individual letters and send them to your local Labour AMs, because this is the first part in scouting out the possible Labour AMs that can be turned to us. We only require a minimum of 7 for Labour not to have a majority vote in the public health bill. So if we assume that all the Lib Dems vote against or the Conservatives vote against, Labour still have the majority of the Senedd. So we need at least 7 Labour AMs in our favour for the public health bill, which may include e-cigs in the worst case scenario, but we're very hopeful that it won't be the case, as you heard from Simon. So I will be doing my very best as an advocate in Wales to get every single one of my vaping friends around here, Cardiff, Bridgend, North Wales, wherever they may be, to contact their local AMs.
I think it's also important, Rhydian, to point out that it may not actually come to that.
Yeah,
because if we can get it taken out of the HSCC, it won't get to the vote. But I fully agree with you. It is still worth writing to the AMs, especially the Labour AMs, just in case we can't get it out. Because when the vote comes, then we could still turn it around at the vote. Let's remember, Clive was on about in his blog yesterday about every cloud has a silver lining. We already started seeing that yesterday. 2 English Labour MPs criticised the Welsh Government for what they are doing. Dylan Jeffries was one, and the other is the former GMTV journalist Laura De Piero, who it turns out is a fervent vapor, which I didn't know, but apparently she is. They criticised. Now, if they can criticise, then the cracks are already starting to appear. If they can criticise, who knows? Other Labour AMs may be about to walk across that road, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of those Labour AMs that are smokers, and I still can't remember where it is, but I know for a fact that at least one of those Labour AMs is actually a vapor.
Yeah, I can't remember who it is either, but with you mentioning the MPs, it may also be worth it to write the same letter that you would do to the AMs to your local Labour MPs. Because, let's put it this way, Mark Drakeford is making himself look ridiculous, which in turn makes Welsh Labour look ridiculous and will have a detrimental effect on the Labour Party as a whole. And we must remember that come May next year, depending on how passionate you are about vaping as your way of getting nicotine, that thought alone could be enough for you not to vote Labour and push the Labour government out come May. I'm not too sure if May would be after the vote on the bill, but it's always something that you could entice your local AM and local MP from Labour to come round to you, because they want to stay in power, because essentially you put them in their job. And if they don't have their job because you voted for someone else, that's the end of it. And it's all down to them listening to you. They're politicians, they're meant to listen to you. Like in the consultation, 80% said, 79% said they were against proposed vaping indoor bans, ban for indoor vaping. Yet, it looks like we're all ignored. So the ignorant part of it should be enough on its own, plus with your story and what the ban would do to you. That should be enough to entice them to jump ship. Because the last thing they want is their government not to be in power. I'm not too sure if either of you lads would agree with that, but that's...
I wholeheartedly agree, Rid. I was going to point out as well, the link for the petition has gone into chat, and it will be added to the description of this video after the event as well. However, I would urge everybody not to settle on signing a petition.
Exactly. And that petition that's gone into chat was started off the backs of the Welsh Liberal Democrats. It was put up today without my prior knowledge, and probably without Simon's as well. So it means that they mean business, and they're not going to be trampled over by the idiocy coming from Mark Drakeford. Yes, it's just everyone's sick of signing petitions, but this is one that's not fronted by the vaping community. This could be different.
But sign a petition and write to your MPs and AMs.
Yeah, sign that and get writing.
And if you're not in Wales, write to your MP and say, look what's happening in Wales, and look how much is being pulled apart.
Let's also remember, right? I think ITV News actually called it correct yesterday. They described what Mark Drakeford did yesterday as a big gamble, and I agree with them, because we're already starting to see the cracks. As I said, what he's effectively done is he's stuck his neck right out. As Rhydian has pointed out, he's gone against public opinion, he's gone against all the evidence. Let's not forget that every single one of the organisations that he's relying on to back him up, not one of them has done any research whatsoever into the subject. All the people who are backing us have. They're the ones with all the research, they're the ones with all the answers. Drakeford could well have put his whole political career on the line here. It is quite conceivable that he has, because if we stop this with, and cause dissent in his own party, it could bring him down. Now, I don't wish ill will on anyone, even Drakeford. I don't wish ill will on him, but he has really stuck his neck out on this one, and he could pay the ultimate price. But the only way he's going to do that is if the pressure is kept up on him.
And the only way the pressure is kept up on him is from other AMs in his party. And our pressure as an organised community, because we need to be a single unit, not separated. We could talk that the night through, but I'm at risk of repeating myself here, so I'm not going to. But be persistent. It's exactly what Simon said in his GFM presentation. Be persistent. Don't give up at the first hurdle, because me and Simon haven't. If we did that, we'd be like, meh, we'll move to England to vape instead. But that's not what we're doing, and no one else should think like that either. Be persistent.
I haven't given up. At the end of the day, for me, this is the most exciting part of it. But you say, this is the bit we've been waiting for, and this could be a really exhilarating journey over the next 3 or 4 months. It was quite strange. I woke up this morning, I was actually thinking, I haven't enjoyed myself so much for bloody ages as I'm having on this journey. I've learned a hell of a lot about politics. I've learned a hell of a lot about how these people think, and I'm learning more and more all the time. And we can and we will turn this around. I'm convinced of it. I'm more convinced of it now than I have been at any time over the last year and a half.
Certainly, looking at all the footage, and not just the stuff that I played at the beginning of the show as well. Pretty much everyone is against this. Anyone with any ounce of sense is against it. We've had 10 of us speaking up against it. We've had Cancer Research speaking against it. We've had Ash speaking against it.
Royal College of Physicians.
We pretty much got 2 bodies at this point in time saying, this is a good thing, and that is the WHO and the British Medical Association.
BMA.
BMA, yeah. that's pretty much it.
And let's be fair, the beer made themselves look right idiots yesterday.
Yes, they did, and slapped down quite nicely, I think.
And we all know what idiots the WHO are.
Yes.
But
now I just want to address something I saw in chat. I can't remember who said it, but it was asked if there is a paragraph or two that it can be used to draft out a letter. No.
I don't want anybody to do that.
No, I was just about to say. The whole point of this is, don't rely on people doing it for you. Okay? Do it yourself. You've got your story. Everyone's got their own story. Everyone's got the reason why they think vaping should continue. Put that down and send it off. Don't let anyone else do it for you.
Your vaping journey and the story of the benefits of vaping to your health. No matter who you send that to, that part is the same. It's like when we had the consultation, my answers were more than likely different to Simon's and Matt's, but the vaping story part of it is very similar, but it's unique to me. If these letters aren't unique in any way, they could actually go, oh right, okay, that it's multiple letters of the same sort of style, different words here and there. That's a communal clumped together response just signed by different people. And they won't take it as seriously if all the letters in hard copy sent to the AMs and MPs offices and emails and possible tweets as well, because nearly every AM that I know is on Twitter, and MPs as well.
But I'd just like to correct you there, Rhydian. They won't take tweets into consideration. They will take an email into consideration because it's considered a letter.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to go back to something David Rees, who was the chair of the Health and Social Care Committee, told me when I met him. I think it was back in February or March now.
Yeah.
The reason the 279 letters were discarded in the Welsh consultation is exactly that. They were template letters. What happens in any consultation, it's not just Wales, this is anywhere in the UK, right? And I think in the EU as well. If you send a template letter in, okay, you might get 300 of that template letter. They will look at it as one letter. Yeah. That's why every letter that is written has to be, written in your own style. I don't care if it's only a paragraph. It's still your letter. It's still your say. That's what you've got to do.
With a bit of clarification on the tweets, some of the AMs and MPs work their own Twitter accounts. So all you need to do is please be on the lookout for an email and letter from me, blah, blah, blah. It's just to make them aware that they'll be expecting something. You don't have to go at tooth and nail at them on Twitter and use up your 140 characters multiple times, because the hard copy of the letter landing on their floor will have a visual impact. We've spoken about this before with the TPD and the MEPs, but the emphasis has to be on the hard copies as well, and the emails. Make sure that they're bespoke to you. Get them sent off.
That's exactly right, I think. And Paul Robinson raises a very, very valid point as well in chat. That this is going to spill over to the rest of the UK. We need to nip this in the bud pretty quick. Yes, it is. This is the first one. Okay? You've got Scotland, England and Ireland, Northern Ireland to come yet.
Let's remember, Scotland actually asked the question. Yes, they're not going to ban vaping in public spaces for the moment. That's not going to say that they won't come back in the future and try and do it if they get away with it here in Wales.
Because it's a case of if one country does it, most will follow.
Okay, I think on that we need to get to the second set of adverts. So let's get that out of the way and we'll carry on.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vapetrails.tv.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Award-winning service and products from cloud9vaping.co.uk.
Vapors, Dripper just got 40% bigger. So if you love discovering new e-liquids, tell Dripper what flavours you like and we'll send you 70ml of juice and at least 5 flavours. With a money-back guarantee and free delivery anywhere in Europe, dripper.co.uk.
What's in this e-cig cloud? Harmless water vapour, right? Pretty much, yes. Compared to a lit cigarette, it's much safer than smoke. But it contains nicotine, and nicotine on its own isn't toxic and doesn't cause cancer. If you're worried about switching to vapour, here are some facts. No tar, no smoke, no burnt tobacco. Cooking your evening meal produces more toxins than are found in exhaled vapour. Tobacco smoke contains toxins at very high levels, and vapour does not. And that vapour contains 6,000 times less carcinogens than cigarette smoke. Electronic cigarette vapour. There's nothing to be frightened of. The only dangerous electronic cigarette is a banned one.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vapetrails.tv.
We've had a breather. Simon, you got some other stuff to say?
Yeah, as many of you will know, I was one of the lucky ones that got to go to Warsaw last weekend. I also, during GFN 15, I got to present in one of the sessions, and ironically, what I was presenting on was how we engage with politicians. Now, that session actually generated quite a bit of lively debate from the members of the audience. But the bit I want to talk about is the interesting bit that happened after the session finished. Now, the reason I say it was interesting is because as I was getting ready to go off and have lunch, because the session I did was right before lunchtime, I got approached by 3 people. Now, they were all British. They were all journalists. Now, unfortunately, they weren't journalists working for British papers. 2 of them were working for papers out in the Middle East, and another one was working for papers out in Asia. What they wanted to do was, first off, get me to fill them in a little bit on what's happening in Wales, because they were a little bit out of the loop. They also wanted to understand my story and where I came from and what vaping meant to me, all that sort of stuff. But I ended up speaking to these guys for an hour, and it was an hour well spent, because they started giving me insights. They said, how are you talking? Have you been engaging with the media in the UK? And I said, well, this is the one thing that we're finding really, really difficult. The ants have all got automatic access to the media, to the newspapers and stuff like that. We haven't got that, and we're struggling. I pointed out, that the protest that we had in Swansea and London, the week before, and that you, Rhydian, had invited a lot of the press down there. And the only press that happened to turn up were some independent filmmakers who just happened to be passing, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
That's correct.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So what these guys said, is that, well, there are other ways of getting to the media. They said, what you need to do is get them to think of you as the go-to. He said, start small, work your way up. Now, the one guy I was speaking to knew Swansea quite well because he'd actually worked for the Western Mail in a past life. And one of his suggestions was that he said, well, look, he said, you've got the South Wales Evening Post in Swansea, for example. He said, it's not a big paper. It hasn't got an awful lot of journalists. So journalists are always looking for stories, he said. Now, yes, I understand that it's frustrating that you write them a story and they tend to ignore it, he said. What you've got to do is keep writing to them, keep telling them stories, keep giving them things. He said, it sticks in their mind. And sooner or later, like, for example, what happened yesterday when the Welsh Government announced this stuff, they suddenly remember, this guy's been writing to me for bloody weeks about this. Let's go to him and see what he's got to say about it. That's one way of getting to him. Another one was a little bit more sneaky. As he put it, he said, again, going back to the South Wales Evening Post, not an awful lot of journalists. Probably most of them live in or around Swansea. Find out where some of these journalists drink. Go into the pub where they drink.
I like that.
Talk to them. Just strike up a conversation. Don't, let them believe there's any alternative, ulterior motive to it. Just talk to them. Get friendly with them. Buy them a beer if you want. And he said, vape in front of them, and get them to ask you questions on it, sort of thing. All of a sudden, you've got this guy, and he's a friend. All of a sudden, when things like this come up, anything, I know somebody who knows about e-cigs. I'll go and talk to him. Not only that, these people talk to other journalists in bigger papers, in bigger regions. They will put you onto these people because, they might talk to somebody and said, we got this thing with e-cigs and don't know who to talk to. And you turn around and say, I know a guy in Swansea. I'll put you onto him. Go and talk to him. There's little nuggets like this they kept coming up with. It's stuff, when you think of it, it's so bloody obvious. But I never thought of it before. And they were so right, in what they were saying. This is the way to get yourself into the media. This is the way that we talk to them. This is how we get our toehold in there. All the ants, they've got the PR agents that do all that for us. We haven't. Well, we can still talk to them. We can still get our faces, in front of them, and still get our stories out there. That's all I wanted to say. It was just, a little thing, and it just genuinely came from an off-the-cuff conversation with 3 journalists who happen to be pro e-cig.
It's one of those things that's so obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's networking 101, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to people, they talk to
the end
people,
of the day,
and carry on.
There's probably journalists that drink in a pub at me and you go to Rhydian. We just don't know it.
Yeah, exactly.
Aye, those 2 Herberts that walked up to us in Swansea the other week, they might drink there, for all we know.
Yeah, they might drink somewhere else in town that I go to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
They might go to Dead of Night, mightn't they?
No. No, it's far too loud, dark and mysterious.
Yes. Right, okay. Right. Yeah, competition time, innit? Now we've got the heavy stuff out of the way, we've got a couple of minutes to be a bit more fun. So, Rhydian, what was the correct answer, sir?
Right, the correct answer was actually 140 mil in Kraken e-cigs original recipe collection. So for all those who got 140 mil, you are now you've been entered into the draw, the random draw, and you will be receiving this box of the original recipe range with an added exclusive which isn't on the website yet, which completely baffled me and Matt this morning. And the exclusive is, if I could actually get it out, it is Jelly Bean. Jim at Kraken e-cigs hasn't put this up on the website yet. So you will be getting 15 10ml bottles of 12 milligram per mil e-liquid.
It's something to point out as well, because originally I said to Rhydian this morning, okay, what's the answer then? Because I was too lazy to look it up. And he said 150 mil. And I thought, we've only got one winner on that. So then we looked at the website, and it got confusing. But on the website, At the time it was checked, there was 140 millilitres, or 14 original recipes, okay? So, 7 people got that right. And I apologise, I can't put it on the screen because I've got the desktop presenter doing what's behind me, so you're going to have to take my word for it. But I've got a list of 7 people here. And, yeah, Spiritus Vape says, isn't that 150ml? Yes, in the box, but not on the website. That's the difference. And the question was, what was on the website, okay? So I'm going to hit the randomise button now. And the winner is Yellow 46, whoever that is. So what I'll do, Yellow 46, I will reply to your email, probably tomorrow morning now, and get your details from you, and I'll pass them on to Rhydian. And you've won yourself a box of juice.
A box of lovely juice.
Shall I reveal who was the person that actually said, the one person that said 150ml?
Go on then.
It was
then
B.
People can yell fix.
It was B.
And the only reason why she would know that there was 150ml in the box, because I announced it on the Swansea Vapers protest event and at the raffle itself. So I don't know whether that's sweet irony.
Isn't B supposed to be senile and forget these things?
Well, so she would have us believe.
Speaking of sweet irony, some people may remember that there was a Touchwood 2650 mod in the raffle pot, and that prize went to Rob Jenkins, the gentleman who did all our protest shirts, which I wore on the interview with BBC Wales Today. And that went up for sale on Welsh Vapers, and as far as I could tell, Mr. Rob Hayes nabbed it up. And then I got red carded on Monday, and then I went to pick up said red card package yesterday. And it came with instructions of do not open until the age of 28.
So 10 years, is it?
So I opened it up, and I found said Touchwood 2650 and 2 26650 batteries in the box. I was flabbergasted, I was confused, and I was dazed. So all I'm going to say to Rob Hayes and Ian Richardson and Rob Jenkins, thank you very much, you naughty, naughty people.
Go on, get it out and show us.
Here we go. I haven't put anything on it yet because I'm gonna try and fit the batteries in according to the instructions supplied by Touchwood e-cigs of Swansea.
Hang on a minute, Rhydian reads instructions. That means you're not a real man. No man reads instructions.
I'm a health and safety officer. It is implied. It is part of training.
Have you actually met Ian from Touchwood?
I may have in passing, and
nice guy.
I didn't know it was him.
Very nice guy. And
Met Margaret,
very
though.
very good at making wood mods.
Yes. And if Catherine Devlin ever watches this VT this evening, my one's bigger than yours.
I'd just like to point out as well that apparently we're now in trouble, Vid. Sav's going to give us a kicking for potentially accusing B.
Oh, no. No.
We have not accused B. We just might have implied that she's a diabolical mastermind.
Of course, yes.
It makes a change for you two to get blamed rather than me, anyway.
Aye.
I usually get blamed for everything. I got blamed for everything in Warsaw.
Well, someone's got to keep up the reputation of Welshmen.
I know, even Fergus blamed me for getting him drunk.
Oh, good God.
So it's been a up and down couple of days. Wales will have its positive time. I've had a positive day, and the winner of the competition will have positive vape mail. Hopefully by the end of this week. So
you know what?
Congratulations all round.
Being serious now, yesterday morning when the news broke, I was all ready to come on tonight and swear my head off. I really was. But as the day went on and more people were speaking about it, this sort of thing, it put a more of a positive light on it for me.
Of course it did. But then some of us get really angry at stupidity easily.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
So,
I nearly broke the health and safety rules at work by almost lobbing the monitor out of the window.
All you got to do is remember, this is the moment we've been waiting for. This is our time.
Yep.
Let's take it with both hands.
And if that was almost a seamless link, it is now time. So, it is good night from me. It is good night from Rhydian.
No star.
And Mr. Thurlow, if you care to say good night.
Good night. No star. Cheerio.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Boil.
Oh, God. Toodle pips.
Joytech UK are proud sponsors of vapetrails.tv.